The Battle of Stalingrad was a brutal military campaign between Russian forces and those of Nazi Germany and the Axis powers during World War II. The battle is infamous as one of the largest, longest and bloodiest engagements in modern warfare. From August 1942 through February 1943, more than 2 million troops fought in close quarters and nearly 2 million people were killed or injured in the fighting, including tens of thousands of Russian civilians. But the Battle of Stalingrad ultimately turned the tide of World War II in favor of the Allied forces. In the middle of World War II, having captured territory in much of present-day Ukraine and Belarus in the spring of 1942, German forces decided to mount an offensive on southern Russia in the summer of that year. Under the leadership of ruthless head of state Joseph Stalin, Soviet forces had already successfully rebuffed a German attack on the western part of the country, one that had the ultimate goal of taking Moscow, during the winter of 1941 to 1942. However, Stalin's Red Army had suffered significant losses in the fighting, both in terms of manpower and weaponry. Russian forces were initially able to slow the German advances during a series of brutal skirmishes just north of Stalingrad. Stalin's forces lost more than 200,000 men, but they successfully held off German soldiers. With fewer than 20,000 troops in the city and less than 100 tanks, Stalin's generals finally began sending reinforcements into the city and surrounding areas. Fighting raged in the streets of Stalingrad, with both sides using snipers poised on the roofs of the city's buildings. As Russia's brutal winter began, Soviet generals knew the Germans would be at a disadvantage, fighting in conditions to which they weren't accustomed. They began consolidating their positions around Stalingrad, choking off the German forces from vital supplies and essentially surrounding them in an ever-tightening noose. By February 1943, Russian troops had retaken Stalingrad and captured nearly 100,000 German soldiers, though pockets of resistance continued to fight in the city until early March. Most of the captured soldiers died in Russian prison camps, either as a result of disease or starvation. The loss at Stalingrad was the first failure of the war to be publicly acknowledged by Hitler. It put Hitler and the Axis powers on the defensive, and boosted Russian confidence as it continued to do battle on the Eastern Front in World War II.